Hey guys, welcome to the In-Flight Running Show. I'm your host, Coach Michael Merlino. I'm a Houston, Texas-based fitness trainer and running coach. I've been running or coaching and training folks with strength training for about 23 years here in Houston. I coach adults from the 5K to the marathon level, and recently I've started coaching middle school kids here in Houston too. So that's a lot of fun. Okay. My business, In Flight Running, offers group coaching, one on one coaching, and recently a lot of Zoom coaching, a lot of one on one or a lot of online coaching too. Okay. So thanks for joining me tonight. Really believe that the content that we share on the show and the guests that we interview on the show uh, can take your running to the next level. Okay. So, and we got a great show tonight, so we'll get it rolling here. Let me go over a little um, housekeeping things, and we'll bring our guest on. Okay. So first, go ahead and if you would just follow us on Facebook. I've got the information right here, so you can follow us on probably the best place is our YouTube channel. Okay, and then we're on Facebook, Instagram. We resurrected our Instagram account, and that's our email and our phone number there. Okay, I'll bring that back up later for you. Okay, um, and then just a reminder for you guys that are in the Houston area, we crank up what we call our prime season here in Houston. That's a 36-week group run coaching program. It starts actually this Saturday, June 6th. We've got fluid supported long runs on Saturday, Tuesday track and hill workouts, online training schedules you can pull up from a smartphone app. So you can go to inflightrunning.com to register for that. And we'll have registration open probably through July this year. Okay. Um, so I guess let's go ahead and bring in our guest tonight. Okay. Tonight we're going to talk about self-defense. Okay. Um, Self-defense on the run or when you're out exercising. If something happens, like how to defend yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest on, Dan Sartain. And welcome aboard, Dan.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing good. This is guys. This is Dan Sartain. He's with Level 6 Krav Maga here in Houston. So, I guess we're going to talk about how to fend off bad guys tonight, man. So, um, Dan's a self-defense expert in Krav Maga. Um, and again, over these first few episodes, guys, what I really want to do is um, focus on highlighting small businesses that are fitness related, And I had a chance to work with Dan last year because our group is about 70% females. So he put a great program together, a self-defense program that last August that, that that was probably the most entertainment I've had in about 20 years, Dan, watching those women become like she devils for for about 4 hours. So so man, I'm gonna just kind of throw it over to you. Kind of tell us about um, I mean, I know I met you, and my whole story with Krav Maga actually started with my at the time when my son Max, he's 15 now, he was 8. We enrolled him in a Krav Maga class. It was like an anti-bullying class, and I was just pretty impressed with what they were teaching the kids about how to neutralize a bully, and just I could see the confidence that it built in these kids in this class. I never did as an adult, and then fast forward one of my runners, Jen Faber, her husband, Jim, um, was training with you, and I was training him in the gym. And I was telling him that I was looking to maybe do a self-defense class. And he's like, call Dan up. And then we had lunch. And then before you know it, about a month later, we rolled out a class. So, um, and the ladies loved it. They learned a lot. In fact, a lot of them asked me if we're going to do another one, which I know we're going to probably plan another one this summer. So on that note, just because a lot of people don't know what Krav is, why don't you just kind of give us the rundown on Krav Maga, how it compares to maybe other styles of self-defense that are out there, and kind of like what you guys do in the studio, like how are things structured as far as classes and things like that?
So, Krav Maga started out in Israel, and it's designed for the Israeli Defense Forces. It's a self-defense combat system. It's different from traditional martial arts in the sense that a lot of traditional martial arts will go into combative sports, and we're not we're a no rules type of martial art. And in Israel, everyone, male or female, male and female, have to go into the military. So they had to come up with a combat system that works for people of all shapes and sizes, whether you're an athlete, couch potato, and all the techniques need to work for, a woman who's 120 pounds against a guy who's 240 pounds, or else it's just not Krav Maga. A lot of combat systems have a lot of rules in place. When you're fighting for your life, there are no rules. So a lot of our striking is in vital parts: eyes, throat, groin, back of the head. A lot of the things that are not allowed in fights. And it's a very eclectic system. A lot of our punches are Western boxing. Our kicks are from Muay Thai. Our ground fighting is jiu-jitsu. Our throws are judo, and our joint locks are aikido. So it's a very eclectic
combination.
system. Yeah. What they found out is a lot of times when someone, when you're in a violent situation, you lose 50 IQ points. You get tunnel vision, audio exclusion. Your heart rate goes up, shortness of breath. So we had to come up with a system that was very simple and very easy to use. And by doing so, we borrowed a lot from all the other systems out there, and to make it a complete self-defense system.
So it's just like hand-to-hand combat, like, grappling and.
It is hand-to-hand combat. We deal with modern day combatives. So we're not trying to disarm someone with nunchucks or things like that. Yeah. We're actually dealing with modern day violence. So we do deal with weapons. So we do knife, stick, gun, long gun. The more common weapons that you may be getting attacked with. We're a very open system, and we change and we adapt. It's because this is fought on the battlefields. They know what works under stress when someone's really trying to kill you. And if it doesn't work, then it's taken out of the system. So 20, 30 years ago, there's a lot of stuff in Krav Maga that, they were finding out wasn't working. So over the years, they've adapted. Whereas, a lot of traditional martial arts are following traditions. Judo was great back in the day when, a samurai or somebody was wearing a bunch of armor. You threw them on the ground. It took them a while to get up. You could spear them with a spear. Now, if you throw someone on the ground, they could pop right back up. So, we have to adapt with the changing times. And we really have to understand violence and understanding what it does for, to you as an individual or the person that may want to inflict harm on you.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I learned when I watched the ladies do that class. You guys really stressed the fact that you could be potentially fighting for your life. Like, there's no playing around here. Like, you gotta scratch and claw and fight somebody off quickly, and get that open moment where you can just get the heck out of there.
Absolutely. We're not on the street. You don't have 3, 5, 10, 12 rounds. You need to get it over with as soon as possible. FBI statistics say the average fight's over in 30 seconds. So we want to do the maximum amount of damage in the minimal amount of time. We're fighting to win that moment in time so we can get away to safety.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what's this picture all about?
So we do a lot of women's seminars. This was for a group of young ladies from a private school, and they're getting ready to go to college. And every year, the teachers have a choice to take on some type of field trip where they can learn something. And one of the teachers was like, what would be great is to give these girls self-defense. And a lot of our women's self-defense, it's not a watered down version of what we teach in Krav Maga. It's exactly what we teach in Krav Maga. Again, it's got to work for a man and for a woman. And so we teach the most common attacks a woman might face, a female might face. And so we went the whole gambit of bear hugs, chokes, rape prevention. These girls are going to college. God forbid somebody, they wake up and someone's on top of them, right? So we're teaching them how to get out of those situations.
I know when we did our workshop with you, you guys kind of hit on all those elements too. Like because I mean, you guys. That's what's so cool about it. You guys totally tailored it to. You're at Memorial Park running, and someone grabs you and throws you in the bushes, and this is what this is what you got to not just the physical. And I know we'll get into that, but not just the physical side of it, but like mentally how to. And I know this is part of the Israeli style is how to profile your opponent or your attacker to kind of somehow try to read them best you can. So it's not just the physical side, it's the mental preparedness and just reading that person too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we'll get into it a little bit deeper when we start talking about some of the different
Yeah.
points. But you got to bear in mind, you got to keep your eyes on what's going on around you, and that predator's probably has their eyes on you, and so they're looking at how you carry yourself.
Yeah. So you go into this is a cool. So you went. This looks like a middle school? Is this like a middle school or a high school?
It's a high school. These were brand new students that were coming in from. This is an international boarding school, and they had a bunch of these kids are from all over the world. And one of the things that's different about this school than other boarding schools is these kids are allowed to go off campus, and they usually use Uber, things like this, and different apps like that to get around. One of the caveats is they can't go by themselves. They have to go with a friend. And so we ran a self-defense class because, it is Houston. It's a big city.
Yeah.
Violence can find you anywhere, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And we just had to make sure that, we taught them a lot of different combatives. We taught them a lot about situational awareness and how to help your buddy. And, we taught, and it's not just about fighting. It's also, there's a lot of other pieces that are involved. Fighting is the last resort,
Yeah. So I remember talking before I met you when Max was in his Krav class. I was talking to one of the guys, instructors. You probably know him, but I remember just talking to him about because I'd go down there and kind of hang out and watch the kids while they did their thing, and we got talking about told him I was a running coach, and he's like, yeah, he goes, he said he was a friend with like one of the guys that was one of the beat cops at Memorial Park. He goes, you would not believe what goes on at Memorial Park. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. He goes, there's some crazies. So it was amazing to me because that's the place. That's kind of like what a lot of people think is the safe zone in Houston. But like you and I talked about when we prepped for the show, if you're a bad guy and you're looking to attack a woman, especially, you're going to go where there's a lot of, you wouldn't think they'd go where there's a lot of people, but that happens too, right? So getting into that, with crime statistics and stuff, I mean, is there anything you can share with us related to, and we'll tell this one story about this gal that you told me about, and it was the total selling point and why I got the class together for the ladies. But, so like what's out there and like, do you have any numbers you can share about why everyone really needs to have some type of self-defense
Well,
knowledge?
I pulled up some data based off 2018 data from the city of Houston. And so this is just the city of Houston. It's not, all the different suburbs,
Yeah.
But there's a little over 24,000 violent crimes that happened in 2018, 1,261 rapes, and 13,764 aggravated assaults.
Wow.
So there's a lot happening. And there's a lot of times these cases don't get reported at all. So I'm sure the numbers are much larger.
Yeah. And then obviously some of those attacks, would have potentially been worse in many ways too, right? I mean,
and some of them led to murder. I didn't.
Yeah.
These don't include the murders that have happened and things like that.
Yeah.
These are just violent crimes.
So let me go to screen share because I want to pull this up because this is a little bit. I don't want to say graphic. It's not really graphic, but it's pretty scary. Let me go back to screen share here. Can you see that, Dan? Okay. Yeah. So this young lady, and I remember when you and I started talking, you shared the story with me. This 36-year-old female, in the Seattle area. Her name was what was her name? Kelly Heron, and and I mean, the picture tells everything, but and the left is basically her GPS from her watch on literally her fighting this guy off. So just I know you know more about the story because like you're like, yeah, this is one reason why, and by the way, this young lady had taken a Krav Maga class, what, a couple weeks prior to this attack?
I'm not sure if it was Krav Maga. It was
But recently,
definitely
right?
yeah, self-defense class a few weeks prior, 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
prior.
There was like
And
like some type of program they're doing at a local park that she had signed up for. And
yeah, so she was running, and she'd run this trail, who knows, hundreds of times.
mhm.
So it wasn't like it was an unfamiliar place. It was during the day. She was running. She stopped to go to the bathroom, and when she finished, she was washing her hands, and there was a man hiding in the stall. Came out and started attacking her, and she kept fighting and fighting. And you can see all the zigzags. They fought inside the bathroom. She ran outside. He
Oh,
chased
wow.
her. They fought more. She ran back inside, and just you can see all the lines. She finally was able to lock him into the bathroom and hold the door until the police came, until
Wow.
she had some help. And it wasn't that, she learned all these skills to fight off an attacker. What she did learn is, and, we give you the tools that you can have and put in your toolbox, but a lot of it is mental. And you got to tell yourself that, that there's only one of you and you're willing to fight for yourself.
Yeah.
And having that mental toughness, she was able to just keep fighting. And predators are just like the predators in the wild. They're not looking for a fight. They're looking for easy prey. They're looking for someone who isn't going to fight back. And the toughest person to fight is somebody who doesn't quit. So if you can still, we tell our students, if you can still breathe, you can still fight. Don't stop fighting.
So it's almost like you have to look at it as like, this could be my last day. You got to go all full throttle, right?
Absolutely, especially when someone's trying to take away, your way of life, your livelihood. You got to fight for that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I mean, and this man, when and I'll link to this later on social media, but it was a little news story by a local ABC affiliate, and they had a little like a 2 minute and 30 video of her story, and it was pretty. I'm like, you showed me this, and I was like, yeah, let's get that class going for our
Yeah.
ladies, and I think I shared this on social media with the group because, like I said, we've always been about 70% female. So on that note, I know you've got some tips, and like I know obviously a lot of what you guys do is physical, but I wanted to start, you know, just like your top tips on what people can do or think about, like if they're, if they're in a situation where someone tries to attack them. And I know you've got some tips, and I'll just pop them up here, but I know you've got a few you want to go over with us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first things is, we want to be choosy about where we exercise and the time and place.
Yeah.
Violence can find you anywhere, unfortunately, but we can still take a layered approach to our self-defense and minimize those outcomes. Some of which is, and it's stuff you probably already know, or you should know, and run in a well-lit area. Choose locations that you're familiar with. Don't always, don't veer off the trailhead. Kind of stay on the trail. Run against traffic. Just some basic things like that. It also, doesn't hurt to maybe run with one earbud. Or if you really want to listen to music that bad, choose a time and a place where there's a lot of people running.
I know they've got some the technology luckily is getting a little bit better. Like I've got an earpiece in here on the other ear to hear you, but um, there's a lot of over the ear that don't go in the ear canal that help a little bit, and the one thing I really stress to my ladies is, man, when it's dark, you just don't run alone. even at Memorial Park, they've had attacks early morning, and it usually, I mean, they've had some weird stuff happen in the middle of the afternoon, but it usually happens when it's dark really early, like 5 in the morning, 4, because people in Memorial Park as early as 4 o'clock in the morning running. And, a lot of times just having someone with you, you could probably neutralize that, problem, but
Yeah, there's actually some hardware out there that you can wear that can alert you when someone's coming up close behind you.
Good.
And I can send some of that stuff over to you so you can get it out to your group.
Is it like a little
Um,
motion sensor thing that
yeah,
you
it's a sensor that lets you know when someone comes up behind you.
huh,
I think it's called Aftershocks, and there's another one called Defense 6. And I think it lets you know if somebody comes within 6 feet behind you.
wow,
There's apps on your phone that can share you can share your running information with people so they know where you're at. There's panic buttons. There's panic button apps. There's mini stun guns, pepper spray. Yeah, I would use all those things.
cool.
Anything that can give you an advantage in your safety.
Yeah, and it's, the good news is like when they reshaped Buffalo Bayou, a few years ago, they put about $40 million in the Buffalo Bayou, and now I think we're in the top 10 urban parks in the country, but no one, no one ran there, man, because it was just overgrown shrubs and vines and things. And when they reshaped the bayou, and did that, it opened that up a lot, and purposely opened that up a lot. So it's a lot safer now than it was maybe like 10 years ago. So, all right, next thing, and this is multifaceted, but you're talking about intuition. You kind of touched on awareness a little bit, and just kind of mentally going through things in your head. Like I'm assuming that's more of like a scenario thing where you're thinking, if this happens, I'm going to do this.
Yep, absolutely. So with intuition, especially women have great intuition, and they need to learn to trust that. Men seem to have an ego, and that gets in the way of their
Yeah.
intuition. Women have great intuition. If something doesn't feel right, it's probably not, and you should trust your intuition. Don't
Mhm.
worry about being PC, hurting anybody's feelings. This is about you and your safety.
Mhm.
If you don't feel comfortable, turn around. You know.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Situational awareness, and that's just being aware of your surroundings. Again, checking your six, looking behind you. Uh, you know, if somebody is not dressed as a jogger and they're sitting there in a trench coat, that doesn't look right. Things like that. So be aware of your
Things
situation,
that look out
and
of
then go ahead.
things that look out of place, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we do a lot of that. A lot of the stuff that we do in just Krav Maga, transitions not just to running. It's kind of like if you're at a dance club and everybody's dancing, and then you got that one guy that's just standing there, that looks out of place.
Yeah.
Or if you're on the subway and you have everyone sitting there, and then you have that one person that's very agitated, that person's out of place. So that's something to be. So we look for things like that, and humans are really good at picking out patterns and noticing things like that. So that's part of your situational awareness. As far as your mental rehearsal, say to yourself when on your favorite jogging path, I know that I turned this corner. It's kind of a blind corner. Someone could jump out. Be ready to do something. If that way you're not frozen in place. You already have a plan. Tell yourself it's okay to fight back. It's okay to yell at someone. So you're not hesitant if that situation arises. So that's what mental rehearsal is. My daughter and I play a game when we go to restaurants and stuff. And it's called Find All the Exits. And that's just mental rehearsal, because if something goes sideways, we don't have to come in we don't have to leave the restaurant through the same door we came in. There's other exits. Maybe you go to the back and leave out the back kitchen. But that's mental rehearsal. So you've already kind of made up your mind what you're going to do before it happens.
Yeah, I know. Hey man, we can talk here. I mean, it's not the safest world. And how old is your daughter?
She's 7.
Yeah. And my son's 15 now, but I mean, as young as I could tell him, when we were out, I'm like, okay, if you're with your mom, um, before you get in the car, look in the back seat, just little things like that. Like, we gotta raise warriors, man. I mean, we gotta make these kids, make sure even before they're adults that they are very aware of their surroundings. And if something, to them, they're into it, we can build that intuition with kids too, which, and as you coach them, man. And I coach them now at the middle school level, and they're a lot smarter than what we give them credit for.
Yeah,
You
they
just
are.
fill their head with that stuff, and they pay attention.
Yeah, well, it's just unfortunate. We live in a
Yeah,
world now that you're not safe at a school, restaurant, bar, nightclub,
yeah,
sporting event, concert, church.
yeah,
Bad things can happen. There's bad people out there.
yep, yeah.
So
Next one you have here, and this is something that's always interested me, and this is what I loved about Krav, because I know, um, you could probably tell, I'll get in, you can go into your point here, but, like, just kind of reading another, we just hit on that, but just reading another person and their, uh, you know, their posture and all that other stuff. And I guess that gets into what you're talking about here.
yeah, we touched on it just a little bit about how predators see people. So
Yeah.
the FBI, they went in and they talked to a bunch of people that were in prison for violent crimes, and they asked them, how did you pick your victims? And they all said that they were the ones that acted weak, weren't paying attention, maybe looking down. They didn't, pick people that stood up tall and made eye contact and kept space. Again, it's one of those things where you need to kind of posture up a little bit and say, hey, stop. What do you want? I can't help you. I'm sorry. Um, so that's the big thing about posture, verbal de-escalation. If someone is screaming at you, it doesn't have to always be a bad guy. Maybe you bumped into someone running on the trail and they get all mad and upset. Well, that's the time to probably use more of a soothing voice. Calm down. I'm very sorry. I wasn't watching where I'm going. I'm going to go now. You have a great day. Things like that. But in a situation where somebody, may want to attack you or something, that's when you need to use your voice and say, hey, stop. Things like that.
Yeah. Okay. I always thought about that. And I was reading some things about how, how the Israelis, like when you go through an Israeli airport, how they read people, like they're trained to read people. And it's interesting to me that you would think a tough guy would be laser focused on eye contact. But I've heard that not really. Like sometimes they shy away from eye contact, and you really got to keep contact on them, right? I mean, it
Oh,
seemed to be the
absolutely.
opposite, but
So we've taken courses. It's called CBL Tactical. It's a core body language. And I remember watching the videos of right before a fight broke out. We didn't know who was going to throw the punch. There may have been 5 or 6 people around. And then after watching and learning people's body language, we watched a whole set of other videos at the end of it. And we were all like, oh, that guy right there in the red shirt.
yeah.
Or, that person in blue, watch, he's going to do something. And sure enough, so sometimes these people kind of look off to the side or they'll shift their weight. And that's because a punch is coming or they're thinking about hitting you. So it's not always, them just making eye contact the whole time. So there's a lot of ways to read people. One thing that's so important, though, is distance. If you can control the distance, you can control a lot of the fight or you can control how that takes place. So we recommend at least 2 arms length away. With COVID-19 and social distancing, 6 feet away. Stay 6 feet away from people.
Yep.
They can't hurt you if they can't touch you or get to you. And
Yeah, and I'd be really interested. Like, it sounds like you guys build some of that mental awareness stuff into your classes too, because as we've talked before, it's probably just as important as the physical aspect of trying to fight somebody off, or just letting them know that you're not going to back down, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And there's a time and a place, but fighting actually is the last thing that we want to do. There's a lot of things that we can do to prevent that violent situation. Now, there's going to be times when you just don't have a choice. someone just jumps out
Yeah.
and blindsides you. And that's one of the things with Krav Maga is a lot of our techniques, we start from a position of disadvantage. So it's not like combative sports where I'm going to stand there with somebody who's my same, weight class, same age, sit there, bow or touch gloves. No, we start when someone's already choking you. Someone's already hit you. Someone's already taken you to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We fight from a position of disadvantage.
So my next one is my favorite because the people I coach are runners, and your next one is just run like hell, right? Just get the heck out of there, right?
Oh, absolutely. You guys are runners. Running is your superpower. That's what you need to do. Okay.
Yeah.
But, and I get it. You may not always have that opportunity. Maybe you're running with, your teenager or your child,
Mm-hmm.
or you're on a brisk walk and, with your grandparents. You may not have that luxury of running. So unfortunately, then you may have to fight.
Because I know when you guys did the little practice, I've got the ladies up here. This is like the grand finale, which, by the way, was the most entertaining thing I've ever watched. Because what you guys did is you put them through these different drills, and then at the end, they had to kind of go through the Thunderdome or whatever, the Krav Thunderdome or whatever, and then one at a time they went through and hit each drill, and a guy grabbed them from behind, and then they get away, and then one of you other guys would jump in, and they had to get to the safe room,
Right. We made them work for it.
Yeah.
Nothing was given that day. And they did. And we saw all kinds of crazy stuff happen, right? People tripped over themselves. And these are people that run all the time. Shoes came flying off. It didn't matter. You still have to fight.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about training is, and training in a safe environment is we can do a lot of those things in a safe environment. So we know what to expect when we're somewhere else. And nobody fails, right? If you're going to fail a technique, in the gym is where you want to do it. You don't want to fail out there. So that's why we encourage them to come back. Training has a shelf life, just like food.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay on top of it. And,
it's like taking that CPR class and then you think you know everything and you go back and go, oh, yep.
Right.
But I know the one thing you stressed was different types of moves to basically get free. And then, of course, as soon as you get free, to your fourth point here, run like hell. Well, as soon as you have that separation, you get out of there quick.
Right. Again, we're not teaching you to fight 12 rounds, right?
Yeah.
Someone grabs you, you kick him in the groin, and you run. You're trying to win that moment in time to get away.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Last point here, and you've kind of hit on this, but it's the end game. If you've got to fight, then you got to bring it, right?
Right. This is after you've exhausted everything. And again, we don't have the luxury of picking who our attacker is going to be, the time of day, what surface you're going to be on. We just don't have that luxury. But, we're going to give you the best chances of survival. And a lot of that is we're going to give you tools in your toolbox. We're going to teach you, stance and movement, where those striking surfaces are. Most common type of attacks that women would face, which are like wrist releases, hair grabs, choke defenses, bear hugs, and defenses against a mounted attack where somebody's on top of you. And not only that, but we're also going to teach you that fight mentality of never quitting and fighting and going hard. I can take the biggest person in the room and throw a wet cat at them, and they're not going to hold on to that cat, right?
Yeah.
And we want you, and we're also going to teach you to make noise, draw attention. And, if somebody comes up and they want your iPhone, give them your iPhone. They want your purse, give them your purse. Mm-hmm. All right. And hopefully that's all it is. But if you do have to fight, or if they want to, if they're going to bind you or take you somewhere, don't even, it's that mental rehearsal. That's your time to fight. You do not want to get taken anywhere. FBI statistics say that your chances of survivability are cut in half as soon as you're taken to a second location.
Yeah,
because when you're taken to a second location, there's nobody there to help you. There's nobody there to hear you. and that person can do whatever they
And
want.
they've got full control at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if anyone is ever going to handcuff you, zip tie you, or take you into a car, that's when you have to fight.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it. Tell yourself right now, it's time to fight.
With every ounce of energy you've
Yes.
got, right?
Absolutely.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to put kind of, so just to summarize, guys, here's Dan's top tips. We went over all these, and obviously, to learn this stuff, it is physical. It is, going through drills and things. And that's where, I would recommend, um, uh, getting in a class, if you're here in Houston, I highly recommend Level 6. We're probably, for you guys that are runners in Houston, not just in our group, but we're going to probably plan something this summer with Dan's group. And we'll invite a lot of you guys are on our Facebook page and stuff. Cause I think, in fact, when we did ours the last time, the word got out, Dan, like a lot of, we had primarily in-flighters in there, but we had a few that friends of in-flighters and other people that just jumped in there. So, I'll be looking for that. So
I want to add to that. I mean, and it was predominantly female, which is great.
Yeah.
Because, they're the majority of your core group. And, but this is something for everyone, men, women, sons, daughters. It really is for everyone. Krav is for everybody. So.
Yeah. It's, and it's, I guess we don't have any, it doesn't look like we have any questions in the feed. So the only question I had for you, man, I wanted to just throw out here, because you answered the other one I've got here, but what I know there's different levels, but what is it like? What does an average class look like? I know you guys do like any workout. Like when I work out somebody at the gym, there's always a warm up on the front end. Like, just give me an idea of like what the dynamics of your average class, the crowd.
So we have a couple programs we're doing right now. Our first program is a Muay Thai kickboxing, kind of a high intensity interval training type class, where it's a lot of heavy bag work, a lot of punches and kicks, and then in between rounds, we're doing some type of calisthenics or some type of core exercise, or it might be kettlebell swings, could be push-ups for a minute. So it's an active rest. It's not really a rest. And then we go back on the bag, and we could run, 30, 45-minute or 60-minute classes. And it's a great workout. It's a full body workout. And that's typical of what we call our Strike Fit program. Our other program that we run is our Krav Maga self-defense program. And the Krav Maga program, typically you come in, we warm up a little bit. We try to get warm the body up so that we're not pulling muscles or anything. And we learn several combatives that lead into a self-defense. So if we have a self-defense where someone's choking you and you have to throw elbows and knees, we could probably work some elbows and knees prior to the defense. And we do a lot of dry work. We break down the technique, and then we put it back together. And as we drill it with different people. So you're not always working with the same person, because, I want that 100-pound lady to work with that 240-pound man. I don't want her to always work with her best friend, because, there's a very good chance that your attacker is either going to be bigger, stronger, or faster, or have a weapon. And in some of our more advanced classes, which are open to everybody, you don't have to be at a high level to take the class. We also do weapons training with gun, stick, and knife, and rifle or shotgun, long gun. And then one other program we just recently added is Kali Eskrima, which is knife and stick fighting. It's a Filipino martial arts.
Yeah, I know. Even when you guys did the class, you guys are pretty good about that. Like, it was, you'd have an instructor. Like, we had Anisha, one of my smallest runners. I don't know. She's probably 4'11", 4'10". I don't know, but and she was matched up with Michael, just to kind of prove a point that she could even throw her weight around. Yeah, she did a great job. But like, just to illustrate that, regardless of your size,
and Michael weighs about 250. So
he's a big boy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool, man. I've got the website up here, and then you guys do like a 1 week like try where they can come and they can try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a 1 week free, and you can try out as many classes as you'd like to in that 1 week, and then you can make up your mind if this is something you want to do. Some of the other things that we do is we run some different seminars. We'll bring in top-notch UFC fighters and do some Muay Thai, classes, seminars. We also bring world champion jiu-jitsu guys in to work on our ground stuff. We also go out to the range. We go shooting, and we run some Kali, knife and stick fighting seminars. So we're a very we've even though Krav Maga is considered a hand-to-hand combat system, we look at all aspects of self-defense. I mean, if you're in your house and you have a gun and there's a home invasion, we don't want you to use Krav Maga. We want you to go get your gun. If you run out of bullets, I want you to use a knife. And if your knife breaks, I want you to use Krav Maga.
Yeah.
All right. So we look at all those different aspects of mental toughness, hand-to-hand combat, and physical fitness.
Yeah.
And all the things that are important.
I've got you guys. I've got the website here. I didn't mention it earlier, but it's level 6, the number 6, level 6, KravMaga.com. And then you guys have 2 locations, one close to like the Garden Oaks area, right?
Correct.
Just south of 610. And then the other one is the other location that you guys opened up last year. That's in the, was it off of Bel Air, close to 610?
Bel Air Boulevard, Bel Air and Bissonnette.
Bissonnette, okay.
Yeah. I think they call it the Bel Air Triangle right in that area.
Yeah.
So,
okay. All right, man. Anything else?
No, I'm good. And if anybody reaches out and want a little bit more detailed information on any of the topics we covered or some of the hardware that they can buy, I'd be happy to share that information out.
Yeah, I'll get some resources from you, and maybe just post that on our social media, like in the comments section on the YouTube channel and on Facebook. That's pretty interesting stuff about the what was the one thing, the motion detector thing? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, before we wrap it up, just want to remind you that go ahead and follow us too. And the best thing, honestly, is YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. I'd love to get over 100 so we can reach more people, guys. And then that way, if you miss this live, it just auto records here in Facebook too, if you're watching this in Facebook. Okay. Man, I think that's all I got here. Let me take share off. I want to thank Dan Sartain for joining us tonight, guys. And check out all their information online. I think it's real important. And I saw the benefit of it, like big time, with about 25 women that did the course last summer. And to the woman, I mean, it's just what I think the biggest thing, Dan, it got them really thinking about scenarios, and that they probably weren't being as safe out there on the run, literally on the run, is what they probably should be doing. And if that's enough to build that awareness where they can fend off that one attacker, then it's worth its weight in gold to do that. Right. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. We'll see you next Wednesday in the In-Flight Running Show, live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on most weeks. Have a great week, run strong, and have a good night. See ya. Thanks a lot, Dan.
Thanks. Yeah. Right. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye.